Hey, all right, I can't believe it's already the end of the first quarter. So, just like every quarter, what we're gonna do is we're gonna have the quarterly wrap up. So, if you wanna get the quick tips and the quick hits on what we covered this past quarter, don't miss this episode and you can listen all the awesome highlights.
Welcome to Industrial Sage, a free video podcast series all about digital marketing for industrial manufacturers. Hear interviews with your peers and find out how they're solving the same challenges that you might be facing in your own field. Coming to you from the Optimum Production Studio in Atlanta, Georgia, this is Industrial Sage.
Let's go ahead and jump into this quarterly review. I can't believe end of first quarter, ridiculous. So we started off this year with a really great episode with none other than ADP. So we had Adam Dickson and Andrew Bowling from ADP talking about HR and sort of that shift in demographics. You know, we talk about the big, scary millennials and how things are coming in and how they buy differently and how they consume media. And so this is a really great episode where we dive into that and what you need to be thinking about as the face of your new customer, the face of your new prospect, the face of your new hire is getting younger.
Everything has to be mobile. If you don't have the ability for candidates to apply for a job within your organization via their mobile device, chances are you're going to lose a lot of those candidates that aren't willing to take that extra step and find a desktop and go, or even companies that are even a step further back than that with a paper application.
Sure.
Things that were the norm now can be a deal breaker for a millennial looking for an organization that's going to provide them the tools not only to be efficient at their job, but if you have millennials that have more power and technology in their pocket and at home than they do within their own employer, it says a lot and will result in them looking for those organizations that are trying to get ahead of the curve and create an atmosphere that can leverage the millennials' ability to leverage technology. And again, a millennial speaking for millennials, we're a wide group. And so it's tough to pinpoint something that's going to affect all millennials just as it would with any other generation. But there are some non-negotiables that organizations have identified you have to have if you're looking to attract top talent, especially with the unemployment all-time lows that we have right now.
Sure, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You had something to add there?
Well, I was just going to say to your early point about how it affects end-to-end the organization. I mean, this same group are also consumers.
Sure,
right?
yeah.
So it may also change their perspective on that company that they once thought maybe, hey, this is a great place where I would love to work.
Right.
And then they go through it from a candidate perspective to find out it's not the same as it is when I am a consumer purchasing from them directly. So we're looking at, you probably heard of gamification.
Absolutely,
But ways to appeal to the candidate the same way they would as a consumer.
And so, then the next episode we had Rockwell Automation with Chris Lukey. We talked about the power of personal brand. Now, Chris is killing it. He's got Manufacturing Happy Hour. Still going to check them out if you haven't done that. What is he doing? Well, he's an account executive with Rockwell Automation, and he's using video. Imagine that. And he's creating video content every single week, and he's putting it on he's got a YouTube channel, and he's putting it on LinkedIn, and he's interviewing people, just sharing best practice and looking about products in the in automation space and controls, and he is got a really great just a really great philosophy on how to do it and why he's doing it. And you want to check out this episode because video is huge. It's going to continue to roll. We talked about how LinkedIn Live is coming later this year. You really want to watch this episode to see how you could leverage it.
One of the biggest things is, if let's say they work for a company like myself, if you're working for a large company and you're trying to get information out to your customers in an innovative fashion, try it just with your little customer base at first. So one thing I say is whether you're doing a video or whether you're doing a blog or doing a podcast, when I create a message on Manufacturing Happy Hour, I really have like 3 elements to it. And that is one, I tell my customer up front what they're going to learn. I say, hey, on this video, you're going to learn X. So that way the expectation is set right up front where, hey, for the next 3 minutes, this is what you're going to be learning about. So that way the person knows, hey, this applies to me, or I'm just going to move on to the next video, which is fine too. I want to make sure I'm respecting their time. Totally. And then we make sure we give 3 key pieces of information, whether that's it's a success story related to the solution, whether it's like, some features and benefits, some background on the problem it solves. I tell my guests, it's like, you know what, this is a quick video. All we have time for is 3 things top. So I know your solution probably does 10 things really well, but pick the top 3, and that's what we're going to focus on. Yeah. And then finally, I end with a call to action where it's like, hey, check out this free tool, or if you want more information, go here. So I really try to use that formula for my videos, but you could do that with a blog post as well. And the reason I bring this up is everyone has the tools they need to do these things right away. Like the first time I did a video, I had no microphone. I literally set up my iPhone on like a selfie stick that I propped up with some books, and I hit record. Because I think people use like the equipment as more often than not an excuse to never get started. And my biggest thing is it's like, hey, just do something, whether it's recording that first 3-minute video, whether it's, taking a picture of what you're doing on a daily basis and just posting it to LinkedIn with a story related to that. Like if it's related to your field, people love seeing that content right now and just getting a peek into what someone's day to day is like. So just realize that you have the tools in front of you that you need to make great content. My biggest piece of advice is to just get started. And if you can simplify it into a quick, 1, 2, 3 formula like I presented, I think that's a way that people can get over that intimidation and get started today.
All right, and then we had ABB. We had Monique Elliott from ABB, from the Electrified Products Division. She was title change, was the Chief Marketing Officer, but now is the Global Customer Experience Officer. And we talked about how to get digital buy-in. We now know that you have to you need digital. And how do you get that buy-in, though? Because that's really difficult. That's really challenging, especially when you have a more traditional sense of marketing and a more traditional sense of way of how things need to be done. You absolutely need to make that change. And Monique kind of walks through her story and shares some great tips on how to do it, what they're doing over at ABB, and shared her really great moment when she said, "I have arrived," because marketing has a seat at the table. So check out this episode. You're going to love it.
Well, I think a couple things are happening. There's a generational shift that's beginning to happen in a lot of the more industrial markets, like the one that I'm in, the electrification products business. And so as you start to see buyers' behaviors change, there needs to be an evolution of the function as well. And that's what we're starting to see. Now, granted, I would say that this industry is maybe 15 to 20 years behind where our friends in the retail space is. So when I talk to my friends in retail, they're like, yeah, we were talking about that 18 years ago. But that's okay. It's a bit of a latent shift, but it's happening now. And so as our distributors or as our customers are buying differently and their behaviors are changing, the manufacturers have to do the same. And so really, I think it's all happening because finally the generation of the workforce in this industry is catching up to where the retail space is, and it's forcing the manufacturers to change as well.
What is the biggest change that you're seeing? So you're seeing that in the workforce. Like, what's really the biggest change for you, concretely?
Well, yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with the search of the product. So whereas before you very much had a sales force that would go out, and we do a lot of our business through distribution. Okay. And so it was very much, and it still is, a relationship-driven industry. But a lot of the search now around, hey, I want to buy this product, what are some other manufacturers, is all being done online. And that is probably the number one change that we're starting to see. So the purchase may still happen offline, and the relationship still needs to be there, but it's the searching of the product is changing to how you and I would search in our personal life. And that's causing the marketing functions to think a lot differently about how they engage customers at the beginning of that buyer journey.
All right, so next we had Steve Smith from Sanny America. So Sanny America, we talked about how the importance of using your CRM for sales. CRM is a really big thing, that customer relationship management tool. So gone are the days, or they should be gone, where you're putting everything onto a spreadsheet where they can get lost and you're the only one that has access to it. If you are not using a CRM, you need to listen to this episode on why you need to make that change and why you need to do it today. And guess what? It's not that expensive. You can start toe dipping. Don't go like whole hog into a huge, big, expensive platform if you don't have process. You need to have this stuff, and you can be really successful with it. And so Steve has some great insights here that you can listen to on that.
I'm a big believer in CRM. At its core, it's to help you manage customer relationships, but it's not designed to help management manage salesmen. And so the distinction is different because we just don't like to put a lot of, as a former equipment guy, we don't like to put any more than is necessary in the system.
Yeah.
So we designed a system. My quarterly speech was garbage in, garbage out, where I would say, if you put in this kind of information, here's what we're going to do on your behalf. At the time, this dates me a little bit too. We were starting to do emails with the information. This is in the early 90s, so we had a good email system that was already going out. And we had recommendation engines, so we're already promoting our other products and services that people have. And we're able to track all these analytics through our CRM system, but it was garbage in, garbage out. As long as they gave us good information, we would help the salesmen penetrate new accounts in their territory. And once they saw that we were actually not acting as a big brother for them, then they're like, okay, now I'm all in, and the whole thing sort of just took off. And at the end of our, we had a sort of a 5-year lead study that we did. We went from 430 qualified leads to 4,800 plus qualified leads. And the salesman bought into it, and management bought into it. But the key at the end of the day was we didn't overbuild the system and we didn't overcomplicate it, because I think that's, in my experience, people overbuild CRM systems. They have the best of intentions, but very seldom are they actually installed and done correctly.
And last but not least, we talked with Aaron Lichtig from Xometry. Xometry's got a really cool, they're a startup. I mean, they're only about 4 years old, and so what they're doing is they work with custom manufacturers, but they're creating, you can get estimates on demand. So for example, you need to get a product spec'd, or you want to get a prototype or something, you can upload a CAD file to their website, and it'll give you an estimate, and it'll pair you with a custom manufacturer. And so what I love about it is how they're using the whole digital transformation to create a whole new business model. Kind of think of maybe like the Airbnb model of custom manufacturers. They're bringing that to the marketplace and really using that digital aspect to be able to really provide a service that is very quickly helping to solve clients' challenges, be able to get them from point A to point B a lot faster. And we also talk about how they, the digital is really in their DNA. Obviously, it's core to their platform as far as their business model goes, but that trickles obviously into the marketing and what they're doing and how they're doing that. So take a look at it. Take a look at this episode and how they're really taking advantage of this digital transformation to create a whole new business, a whole new disruptive model, to be honest with you, and how it relates to marketing.
I mean, for hundreds of years, custom parts manufacturing required you to kind of deliver some kind of design or file to a specific shop, or spend a lot of time on the phone going back and forth, time spent quoting each job manually. But with the rise of digital and our platform, and there are some other platforms that instantly quote or give fast quotes out there as well. But what we're able to do is we can shorten that quoting time. There's no back and forth. There's no kind of sending Excel files and CAD files around. You just upload your file to our secure site. That price comes back to you literally within seconds.
Wow.
You have it, and that's a price that we're going to stand behind.
Okay.
Yeah, so you get that price, you know what it is. If you want to get it, we have in some cases with some of our 3D printing processes, we can get you parts in as fast as 1 day, usually within a couple days. And so when you take out that time that you're saving on the quoting, as well as the fast kind of production time that we have, you're getting those parts in hand very quickly. And as kind of innovation and iteration cycles have gotten a lot faster in general over the past few years. Our goal is to enable companies to do that as fast and as cost effectively as possible with very high quality work. And the companies that are able to do that are going to be the ones that win in the market, because their products are going to get out there faster.
Okay, and so that's basically it for you for this quarterly wrap up. I hope that you really enjoyed this quarter's worth of content. We've got a whole lot of other people, a lot of great guests that are coming in, a lot of things that are scheduled for the next year. I think by the time we, in the middle of our second quarter, we'll actually hit our 2-year anniversary and I think we're going to get really close to our 100th episode. We are at episode, I think this episode is episode 82. Wow, that's crazy. That's only 19 or 18 episodes. I can't really do math right now. It's really, so whatever 18 divided by 4 says 4. Anyway, somewhere in the next few months, we're going to hit our 100th episode. That's going to be awesome. You're going to start seeing a few more changes as we roll out with Industrial Sage. We have some really cool things we're not quite ready to announce yet, but we have some really cool things coming down the pipe. We're going to expand Industrial Sage, and it's going to be awesome. So thanks for listening. Continue to support. We'd love for you to be on our email newsletter. If you're not on it, you go listen. It's very easy. Go to the website industrialsage.com and get on the email subscription list. Why? Because we got a lot of great content that you're not hearing if you're on the podcast, or even if you're visiting on the website. There's like secret stuff that you can have access to that you're going to want to get there, so you can have access to all that. And then we have additional blog articles and different content that we're starting to roll out with more and more. You have access to it there. If you're listening on iTunes or any of the other podcasting tools, we'd love a review. If you are frequenting our stuff on social media, we'd love a like, comment, share, all that stuff. It really means the world as we help to continue to really build this community around making this transition into digital. Looking at sales and marketing for manufacturers, that we're super excited about it. If you have any questions, we'd love to answer them on the show. You can reach out to us at industrialsage.com/questions. I'd love to answer them for you. And thanks for listening, and I'll catch you next week with another episode of Industrial Sage.